Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy. I'm the RGM at the Hutto location. Sorry I couldn't be there right now. My daughter is performing in the Junior Olympics in Iowa. A couple of months ago, in the Ryan area general manager meeting, we were asked to read a book titled Extreme Ownership. In this book, these former Navy SEALs give these 10, 12 principles that they use that they got from the battlefield and they're now applying it in the business world. Fortune 500 companies and other corporations are calling these guys in to assess their issues, and basically they've come down to the fact that there are no bad teams, there's only bad leaders. So ouch and amen, right? So these guys have done a great job in this book, and I encourage you guys to read it. It has greatly influenced me during this journey of reading it. So during our area manager, not our area manager, but during our general manager meeting, Karen asked us to read this book. So after reading it, she wanted us to bring one of the principles to our next general manager meeting. So I took a more personal approach to the book as I was reading it, and really wanted to use one of the principles to apply it to not only my job with Pizza Hut, but personally as well. So I took a more personal approach. And for me, for those of you who may or may not know me that well personally, but I am in recovery, and as a recovering addict, the big book teaches us that drugs and alcohol are but a mere symptom of the problem. So what are you left with? You're left with the pride and the ego and all the other character defects that a person is left with after they stop using and after they stop drinking. So I chose ego because I felt like that was something that I have dealt with and I continue to deal with, and that is one of my character defects that I need to continue to address. So I did. I took a good look at it, and I continue to take a good look at it on the ego on a daily basis. Now, don't get me wrong, ego is not a bad thing. Ego drives us to be the best. Ego drives us in our passion. Ego drives us to win. Ego can be a good thing. However, the book addresses it more in a negative tone, in the sense that this is what keeps good leaders from becoming great. So I want to discuss a few things about ego that I got from the book and how I'm applying that at my store and with my people. So one of the things that they brought up in here, and I made a handout. I don't know if you guys will have that or not, but I did make a handout. It says implementing extreme ownership requires checking your ego and operating with a high degree of humility, admitting mistakes, taking ownership, and developing a plan to overcome challenges are integral to any successful team. This has been tough for me. I don't know if you suffer from this, but I'm a recovering admitting mistaker. And I remember whenever I wrote this, I was reading something and it said that ego, the more you have it, the less you think you have it. Do you have a problem with ego? If your answer is yes, this study may be for you. But if your answer is no, there's no doubt this study is for you. So, another thing that Jocko brought up was, for leaders, the humility to admit and own mistakes and develop a plan to overcome them is essential to success. The best leaders are not driven by ego or personal agendas. They are simply focused on the mission and how best to accomplish it. I think that, as I look back and take an honest moral inventory of myself, and I look back at the last 4 years that I've been with Pizza Hut, it's evident that there were times that ego had gone wild. It's evident that I allowed personal agendas to cloud my judgment. I allowed ego to get in the way and impede the judgment and, therefore hinder the success of the store. So, learning to admit the mistakes is a great key, and something that I'm trying to teach my younger management. It's okay. You know what? If you made a mistake, just own it. Let's fix it and let's move forward. But I don't want to hear that, if this was the fault, the driver was the fault, the CSR was the fault, or the customer said this or the customer said that. you know what, let's just take a look at ourselves and examine it. And I think that teaching these younger management and these younger managers the importance of setting aside your ego and allowing yourself to humble yourself and just say, you know what, I did it. I'm responsible for the matrix. I'm responsible for, the delivery time. Yes, there are certain things that can hinder it, but for the main part, I'm responsible. Okay. Another thing that Jocko wrote is ego clouds and disrupts everything. The planning process, the ability to take good advice, and the ability to accept constructive criticism. That is a big one right there, because many of us, have dealt with getting defensive whenever someone addresses an issue in your store. I know I have. I'm working on it, and I'm still growing on a daily.